Welcome back, Luminary. We are closing up February. Can you believe it? And the moon is losing light after our epic full moon in Leo last week. I wonder what is winding down for you. Welcome to the Savvy Luminary podcast, Astrology for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Leslie Tagorda, creator of the Astrobrand Method, business astrologer, brand designer, author, and Aquarius boss woman. I help visionary spiritual entrepreneurs and impact makers like you illuminate and amplify your unique star powers so you can be the luminary you were born to be. Welcome back, Luminary. I am on the road, so the sound and the quality might be a little bit off today. You might hear some kids in a pool playing in the background, so excuse the noise. I'm not in my normal space because I am on the road in a lovely town on the central coast of California called Carmel by the Sea. This week, I decided to pick up my clarinets again, and I took a professional orchestra gig, and I've had this on and off relationship with orchestral music and big symphonies, but this time I decided to do it. It's been so nice to come back to play in a symphony after a couple of years, and mostly what has been so wonderful is that I love playing music. Some of you might know that I am also a professional clarinetist, and I have been for a really long time, and I have this on and off, again, relationship with it, thinking that I have to be of service when I play my music, or I have to, be the best when I play my music. But really what it comes to when I'm playing the clarinet is that this is just for me. I don't play the clarinet for anybody else. It is a place for me to come back in, and it is, even though I play it at this very high level, it's all for me. I don't really care what other people think about my music playing. And what I've realized over the last few weeks, since I've had my birthday, and I've kind of shared with you a little bit of what's been going on in my inner world of feeling a little bit burnt out, is that I haven't really been doing things just for me. And that Leo full moon last week really made it clear that I have to kind of stop giving so much and start receiving even more. I know that's been really a theme that I've been talking about, and we always come to these different realizations, these different levels of experiencing what does that really mean to do things just for me. So I am in a place of privilege. My husband was able to watch the kiddo while I came down to Carmel by the Sea for a few days to play in this orchestra for the set, and then deliver on a little bit of work. But really, how am I winding down? Especially with this last week of February, there's not a whole lot of astrology going on. I'm recording this just slightly before the sun moves into Pisces, just at that cusp of Aquarius and Pisces season on Friday, February 18th. But after that full moon and the light of that moon is waning, this is that kind of time where we start to reflect and we start to heal, and we are kind of like the gas. If you're thinking about the car, our foot has come off that pedal and we are kind of coasting, and we're deciding how far we can go without having to put so much effort in. And so I'm really doing this for myself. Also, this week, this past week, starting on February 14th through the February 18th, I've had just the most amazing time showing up for this most recent cohort of my introductory course, Written in the Stars, where I teach the foundations of all of the symbols and all of the houses and all of this, the signs, everything that we need to know to start building upon our astrological knowledge and start applying it in a strategic way in our business. And I've had the privilege to serve the most wonderful cohort and showing up every day to answer their questions in the lives. And, I've even though I've delivered this course several times and created the curriculum, it's so beautiful, this cohort, because our trainings had been already pre-recorded, and I just love showing up live. If all I could do was just show up and be myself and answer questions, I was like, this is just, I love that. And what it really comes back to is like, even though I know my astrology and we're always like diving into deeper understanding of our astrology, we keep on getting reminded of these little things of how can we even attune more and fine tune so that we're really operating in this place of flow. And what I realized with this Written in the Stars and showing up live and answering people's questions with astrology and their businesses and their entrepreneurial journey is that I love teaching. I love sharing. I love inspiring, and I love reframing. And how can I do more of that? So before I get into the astrology of the week, what I really wanted to share with you is that I realize I need to take a break. And what is lighting me up right now, and what is kind of feeling a little bit like a drag. It's not that I don't love this podcast. I love this podcast so much, and being able to share these stories of my clients and share the astrology wisdom. But I realized that my Saturn in the first house of just like commitment and just overachieving and giving it my all. I've been delivering basically 2 episodes a week for the last year, and I need a break. And so I know that I'm going to be coming back to this podcast. I don't know when, but I do know that I will be coming back. So this is the second to the last episode before I take a little break. I'll be sharing, the astrology of the week, and you can still get the forecasts if you are signed up for my monthly newsletter that you can find. You can sign up on thesavvyluminary.com and get my monthly newsletter. And you can still be connected with me in my free Facebook group, also called The Savvy Luminary. But I'm going to take a little pause on delivering these bi-weekly episodes until I kind of restore some of my energy and really focus in my energy for my teaching and for building out the curriculum of my upcoming Astrobrand certification, which the coursework will be starting in April. It's so beautiful that, the people who have taken Written in the Stars, they'll be moving on to Star Powered next, and then we'll be moving into the Astrobrand coursework, which will take them to the certification. And it just feels so beautiful to have that clear pathway. And I want to pour all the energy that I have right now into delivering that best, the most optimal experience so that we can all use astrology strategically in our businesses. And so I hope that you will still come back when I'm ready to come back to this podcast. On Wednesday of next week will be the last episode before I take a little pause. And that episode will be about the Pisces archetype. When Jeff and I were looking back at all of our podcasts, for whatever reason, even though we've been doing these archetypal podcasts for a couple of years now, we've always somehow seem to miss Pisces. And I love Pisces energy. I have my Mercury in Pisces. I have my midheaven in Pisces. Why the heck haven't I talked about Pisces in an in-depth way and shared what that is for you? Now, Pisces is just like one of these energies that if you try to grasp it and if you try to understand it so much, it's just going to slip out of your fingers. So how do we contain that Pisces energy in this really free and flowing way? So I'll be sharing with you for that last episode about that Pisces archetype. But for now, I'm super excited to have this kind of space that I'm building in. Just to be, again, fully transparent, like as we're building our businesses, as we're going through this entrepreneurial journey, to take a pause is scary. To take a pause requires a whole amount of trust. It requires a whole amount of faith and belief that things, even though we're taking a little bit of pause, that things are not just like gonna like fall down and crumble. Okay. And so do know that I am going through those questionings, those feelings right now, and fearful that, hey, if I take this pause, I'm gonna lose all of you, that I'm going to waste all of what I have built. But I am trusting that this pause is going to replenish me, that it's going to make me even more sparkly and even more shiny, so that when I come back to this podcast in a short pause, that I will have so much more to offer and share with you. So if you, again, please join me for your monthly forecasts in that written version and hop on my newsletter, or just hop on into my free Facebook group. I'll still be showing up there. And then, of course, Star Powered starts in March, where it's a 4-week intensive that everybody who's taken Written in the Stars, that is a prerequisite, that Written in the Stars just teaches all of the basic fundamentals of my philosophy of astrology and business. And then Star Powered Position is a 4-week intensive where we do a deep dive on our sun, our moon, our rising, and our descendant to position our business. We get to the heart of what we do. We get into that feeling of success that we need to cultivate in our business. We decipher just how we are meant to show up as our rising sign leadership and initiate things in our businesses, so that we can then attract our ideal customer and know exactly what we are designed to solve and help our customers with transforming in their lives. And so I love the container of Star Powered Intensive. It's just 4 weeks. There's 3 trainings each week with a live session for question and answers. And it's such a beautiful community of like-minded souls that come together. So if you have already taken Written in the Stars and want to hop into Star Powered, or if you've already taken Star Powered and you want to kind of freshen your skills before we jump into the Astrobrand coursework, Star Powered Position and Written in the Stars, that intro course, are both requirements to hop into that Astrobrand coursework and certification. So if you're interested in that, please reach out. You can always head on over to thesavvyluminary.com/Star Powered to learn more. All right, so thank you for all of that, and let's dive into the astrology of this upcoming week of February 20th through the 26th. Oh, before we go into that, I had this I don't know about you, but when I'm in the shower, I get all of these inspirations. I get so many ideas of the things that I want to talk about. I get so much clarity in how I want to talk about things. And I wanted to share this is one thing I remember I wanted to share with you, because somebody in Written in the Stars, she was asking, when we're going through all of the energies, and she was asking these questions, and she's getting ready to make this big shift from her day job, her corporate job, into starting a new business. And she wanted to know what kind of business she should create, because she, in her own words, she said, I want a guarantee. And I thought that was such a wonderful question, because wouldn't it be nice, right, for all of us to have a guarantee? Wouldn't it be nice that even if we had a day job, that things are guaranteed, that we'd always get the raises that we wanted, the promotions that we wanted, that when we have our businesses, that we'd always get the income that we wanted, that we would always get all the people that we wanted? And I had to break it to her that there's nothing in life that is a guarantee. That even if we are choosing our businesses based on our natal astrology, that we're not going to run into challenges, that we're not going to run into experiences or quote unquote mistakes, that all of those things, all those challenges and all those mistakes that we pick up on along the way are part of the experience that we're supposed to learn to create skills, to flex our muscles to keep on going. You know, even after I decided to turn my branding and design business into a brand astrology business, yeah, there's been this like gradual increase, but there's been a lot of mistakes and a lot of challenges along the way that help me redirect. But what astrology has taught me is like, how do we continuously aim for that archetypal energy? Even here, you're hearing me starting to shift into that Gemini rising of, you know, sharing stories, but like becoming more and more of that teacher archetype and really focusing my energy in an innovative way of teaching. And so if you're looking for astrology to give you that one and done answer, I'm sorry to break it to you, but there is just absolutely no such thing as a one and done and a guarantee. And that astrology there's an infinite ways that we can express our archetypal energies in our astrology, but our astrology shows us the archetypal energies that we need to hone into and focus into so that we can create more ease and flow and impact in the businesses that we choose. That there's no guarantee that there aren't going to be challenges, because there will always be challenges, and we need those challenges because it's those mistakes that we learn from, that we keep coming back from, that we, you know, there's no such thing as failures. The only failure is if you don't stand up again. And so I'd like to share this whole process of the ups and downs that I'm personally going through in my business, just to paint a true picture that this really is a journey. There's nothing in life that is just straight upward course. So I wanted to share that with you. So if you're kind of questioning, like maybe I need to shift my business, or what kind of business should I start with my astrology, knowing that this is for you to decide and that your astrology will serve you, but your astrology is not going to make a decision for you. That is the beauty of having a destiny instead of having a fate. You get to choose. Okay, well, let's go into the astrology of the week of February 20th through the 26th. It's a pretty quiet week. And our quote that we have this week is from the one and only Margaret Cho, a Korean American comedian. I just love her. And she reminds us to have self-esteem is truly an act of revolution, and our revolution is long overdue. Thank you, Margaret, for sharing that with us, because this week it's time for us to quantum leap into our personal revolution. And this means letting go of doubts and leaning into more momentum. And sometimes, you know, momentum isn't just like about going. Sometimes momentum is actually about slowing down and coming to a stop. It's kind of like that inertia where we're continuing on in energy. Are you ready for the possibilities of what's to come? Listen carefully to what you are called to say goodbye to. Oh my goodness. On the other side of what you must shed during this time is the reality you've been shifting into for some time now. This week, with our fourth quarter moon and Mercury leaving that shadow zone, your personal revolution is letting go so you can rise up. Okay, I'm just about to cry here because, you know, these forecasts, I write them months ahead. These forecasts were done in mid-January, and I don't know about you, but this is like really touching me. I can't believe I wrote this over 5 weeks ago, because I mean, this is speaking to me so much, because yes, what are we ready to let go of so that you can rise up in your business? It is such a beautiful time to trust in that process of that it's okay to slow down. Even though all of our planets are moving direct, and even though Mercury is leaving the shadow zone, it's by this time like that we get to slow down, even if the pause is just a little bit, that creates that negative space in your mind, in your soul, in your emotions, that more clarity can come through. So this week, there's not a whole lot of stuff, so we're going to just fast forward to February 23rd. So on February 23rd, that kind of midweek part, I believe it's a Wednesday. Let me just double check. February 23rd, yes, it is a Wednesday, Mercury day. So midweek hump day. It is a day to move your body and let go, because we have a couple of things going on. We're going to have a Mars sextile Neptune. So between that relationship between Mars and Neptune, there's an opportunity there for you. And then we have our 4th quarter moon in Sagittarius, which is really like that letting go, that closing up phase, that like that leading towards that balsamic healing phase in that monthly cycle that is represented by the moon. And so on this Wednesday, it's a reminder to move your body and let go, with Mars in Capricorn aligning with Neptune in Pisces, and our 4th quarter moon in Sagittarius. There's so much momentum to slow down and ease, to create opportunities to let go and flow for integrative freedom. Now, I was sharing that every time I see a relationship between Mars and Neptune, whether this is natally, meaning you're born with some kind of relationship between Mars and Neptune, maybe a conjunction or an opposition or a trine, or maybe you have that Mars sextile Neptune in the transits, like we're going to have exact on February 23rd. When we have Mars and Neptune together, this is like spiritual movement. I call this like physical devotion. And so if you've ever done yoga or Tai Chi or any like martial arts where your movement and your discipline in your body is really a spiritual devotion, or maybe you even like dance hula or do some kind of indigenous dancing where you're making offerings to the spirits of the land, this would be an example of that Mars-Neptune integration. And now, when it's a sextile, there is an opportunity, meaning you have to go after it. It's not going to just come to you. You're going to have to go looking for it. So if you choose, move your bones, Mars and Capricorn, to open up possibilities and opportunities. That's that Neptune in Pisces. So Mars in Capricorn at 22 degrees, sextiling Neptune in Pisces at 22 degrees. I've actually also been thinking a lot about this relationship, this sextile relationship between Capricorn and Pisces. You know, Capricorn can be so rigid, right, with its goals and with its sense of accomplishment, but that Pisces is like really in flow. And so the two of them together really go so well. They make such great partners of opportunity in that sextile, because Pisces remembers that Capricorn, hey, don't be so rigid. If you're like that rigid tree in a lot of wind, that tree is going to break. Your bones become brittle if you're too rigid. And that Pisces, Capricorn reminds it, say, you know, you have all of this flowy energy, but let's give it a little bit of form. Let's give it a little bit of a container. And so I love the interaction between this Capricorn and Pisces energy. So how will you move your bones on the 23rd? Maybe do some stretching. I think I'm going to go take a yin class now. This reminds me. I love yin yoga, where you spend like a long time in a particular position, in a yoga position, so that your fascia and your deeper muscles can start to release. Such a beautiful timing for that Wednesday, the 23rd. And then we have our 4th quarter moon at Sagittarius of 5 degrees, where 4th quarter moon and in Sagittarius reminds us the freedom to let go. What will you liberate yourself from in your work? How apropos. Oh my goodness. I'll be liberating myself from a little of this podcast schedule for just a little pause. Letting go is freedom. Freedom is lightness and truth. This week with the fourth quarter moon phase, you now know what past patterns, past distrusts, and past truths you need to let go, for they've weighed you down for far too long. Trust and lean into the movement of your body in the wake of Mars and Neptune sextiling for a few hours earlier. Move your bones and feel into what needs letting go for freedom. The last quarter moon phase is an integration phase in our lives and our work, a healing and restorative time to cultivate all that we have learned and assess what we want to continue with and what we want to turn back into the earth as nourishment for the seeds we've planted. And then the last thing that's really happening this week is on the 24th, we have a couple of things going on because Mercury leaves the shadow zone after that last retrograde season. And just as Mercury leaves that shadow zone, it radicalizes as it squares off with Uranus. Oh my goodness, you can't make this timing up. It's like so perfect. So on the 24th, just as Mercury leaves the shadow zone, ending the full complete cycle of our first Mercury retrograde of 2022, it squares off with Uranus for an added zing for full quantum speed ahead. And I just want you to just say like, okay, well, thinking about like, how can we full quantum speed ahead if we're slowing down? Magic happens in that space. When there is space created, the universe does not like a vacuum. So how can you create this space for the universe to quantum fill it up? Okay, so Mercury leaves shadow zone. When it reaches that Aquarius of 10 degrees, Mercury is full speed ahead. Your thoughts blast off. If you've done your work to revise the future you want to create through your work, this official ending of the full Mercury retrograde cycle gives you a quantum leap into that future. You are ready to fully embrace your desired role in being a change maker, to take action on your new plan. The stars are on your side and here to give you an energetic boost into that vision. Mercury, along with your vision, is now moving full speed ahead with accuracy and focus. So give yourself time to think, make that space, okay? So yay, we don't have another Mercury retrograde for another few months. So Mercury squares off with Uranus a little bit later at 6:22 p.m. on the Thursday, the 24th. And when it squares off with Uranus, we get to really revolutionize. You'll have some sparks of new ideas, a new way of seeing things, a new way of doing maybe something that you've done before, but now you have a fresh perspective. I'm super excited what lightning ideas and innovative perspectives you gain on the 24th. So luminaries, thank you for listening this long. On Wednesday, I'll be dropping the Pisces Archetype so that you can bring more flow and ease and a dose of imagination and spirituality into that one area of your business where Pisces rules your chart or where Neptune lives. So tune in for that Wednesday episode, and then I will be taking a much needed pause for who knows how long, maybe a short while, maybe a few months, who knows at this time. So thank you again. I will talk to you soon. And if you want to get in touch with me, head on over to my free Facebook group, The Savvy Luminary, or you can always head on over to Instagram at, my Instagram handle is different from this name of the podcast, and it's at New Moon Creative CO. All right, luminaries, talk to you soon. If you love this podcast, please consider doing me a favor and heading over to Apple iTunes and leaving me a rating and review. Your rating and review helps this humble podcast get seen and found by more listeners like you. Please share the love.